Interested is interesting. Hey, Bradley Charbonneau here on a Sunday morning. This is not a fast Friday. I definitely did not fast last night. It's not a Thursday thunder because it's Sunday, but it's a meditation morning. I don't know. I need the alliteration somewhere. I guess I could do meditation Monday morning, except that it's Sunday. Here's the deal. I have not been I know, shocker. I have not been doing my more formal meditations in recent weeks, maybe even months, really. I feel like I'm in therapy here. I haven't been doing my normal sitting in a chair, closing the door, eye masked, the good headphones on, and doing my more Joe Dispenza meditations, which I've been doing for years. I don't know if I've been sort of lazy. I've been doing them in bed, lying down. And it's odd. I even sort of know that I want to use the word cheating, but it's not cheating. I'm cheating myself, really. So here's the reason I'm recording this morning, because yesterday morning, Saturday morning, and this morning, I did do the sit in the chair meditation. Yesterday I have a playlist, and it's breath work, and then I think it's actually a healing meditation, but you can choose who you heal, and I often will choose to heal myself. So it doesn't mean necessarily some medical condition or something. You could heal whatever. So yesterday I had some amazing clarity, and this morning I had some crazy clarity, and that's basically what I want to say for if you're seeking clarity in your life. I don't know of any better way than meditation, because the answer lies within you. The questions and the answers are within you. You don't need to go without you or outside of yourself to find the answers. The question is finding them inside, and they're also there. They don't need to be created necessarily. It's just they need to be discovered or uncovered or dusted off or unburied or found in the attic of your mind or your heart or your gut. So I started off with interested is interesting. And without naming any names, let's just say that someone I know became less interested in someone I know. And I think my theory on it is that that person found the other person less interesting because that person is less interested. Now, not in her, but he's not interested. Well, is he interested in other things? Of course, but does she see that or notice that or appreciate that? So I can take the example. The examples are abundant. There are so many. For example, my favorite is basketball. I've got a kid on this is a perfect example. I had a kid on my team, and an awesome kid. And why do I say that? Why do I say that so quickly? Because he was interested. How is he interested? He's interested in basketball. He's interested in improving his basketball skills. So what does he do? He asks questions. He displays openly his interest in basketball. He's not like too cool to ask the coach how to do something. And then what does the coach do? Me. Oh my God, I'm thrilled to help him with anything. I went one-on-one with him. We would do shooting practice. We would do dribbling practice. He didn't really need dribbling practice. Wow, he was good. So he had some talent. But was it talent or was it skill? And does that talent come from the interest, or does the skill come from the interest in the topic? I believe it does. I believe it can. Sure, you have some talent. You have talent for certain things. And if you have here we go. Here's the equation. This is also why I'm recording this, by the way, because yes, I had a fantastic meditation. The outcome of the meditation was a new book. I know, called Interested is Interesting. I think it's a fantastic title. In fact, I'm going to go work on it immediately. And this is it. It's back to the basketball kid. He's interested, and that makes him interesting. Now back to the girl and the guy. I think the girl was less interested in the guy because she found him less interesting because he's not so interested. I hope this, I see it as sort of a mathematical equation, and I don't know if you see it so clearly just with my explanation here, but I see it really clearly, and if you don't, you can buy the book. Let's find another example. I just went to a writers' conference. Who's interesting for me? Who do I want to meet? Now, I want to meet the people. I mean, another word is passionate, and I don't know, sometimes it's cliche, it's overused, but I'm passionate about people who are passionate, right? So similarly, I'm interested in people who I think are interesting. And why are they interesting? Because they are interested in things. I can take one example. A woman I met, she was passionate. I mean, again, I'm kind of interchanging the words here. She was passionate, or she was interested in a particular genre of writing, a fiction genre. It sort of had to do with shorter fiction, which I also thought was really cool. And I almost don't care what you're interested in, as long as it's not like harming dogs. But if you're interested, you're interesting. That's pretty much the bottom line. So she's really interested in this certain genre. She was all excited about it. She was writing in it. She was becoming more successful in it. And that was interesting to me, that she is interested in that. I hope this is clear. I'm going to literally I have a cover in mind. I've got some chapters in mind. I mean, the basketball kid, this romantic relationship that sort of I don't want to say fell apart, but it's kind of what happens to a candle. It extinguishes, or, becomes a little dimmer. And I think because the guy wasn't interested in, or if he was interested in things, he wasn't maybe openly displaying it. And this is where I think maybe there's some confidence at play. What if you think, back to the woman at the conference, I even heard her on a talk, and she was saying how she felt like a fraud because even though she was interested in this genre and working on it, she wasn't, quote unquote, successful yet. Now she is, but at that point she wasn't. And she felt like, oh boy, maybe I shouldn't mention that I'm interested in this thing because I'm not yet successful at it. And I can completely understand that thinking. I've done the exact same thing. And yet, back to the basketball. Am I only interested in the player who is both interested and talented and skilled? Of course not. In fact, I don't care if you're talented or skilled. I mostly care that you're interested. Wow, did you hear that part? Think about this as that basketball player. I mean, the kid's like 14. I don't think he's going to understand my entire logic here, but maybe you, as an adult listening, you might understand this. Think about that. Someone else, if you're wondering, if you're sitting there listening to this, first of all, if you're sitting here listening to this, thank you. I appreciate you. I really am appreciative and thankful and grateful for you listening to either this podcast or the YouTube channel. And I hope that I can deliver some awesome insights like this clarity. And again, the message of today is also meditation. Where did this come from? It didn't come from watching series on TV. Nope, it came from meditation. And now what am I going to do to solidify the idea? I'm going to go, quote unquote, work on it. I prefer calling it playing with it. I'm going to go write about it real quick, just a few minutes. I mean, but also I don't need to write anymore. I need to record this audio. I mean, I'm in my pajamas. I'm not going to do video. I look like a disaster. And audio is fine, right? I love audio. I can record. I can just blah here. And honestly, and I mean no disrespect at all, but this is kind of for me. I'm recording this. You're listening to it. That's awesome. I hope you get something out of it. But you know who's really getting something out of it? Me. Why? Because I'm getting clarity through creation. Ooh, that's a good one too. I'm getting clarity through creating, through making, through talking through this topic of this interested is interesting. I also like it's I. Interested is interesting. And yet, that's kind of interesting. I, like I, me, you, right? I is very ego. Well, there's a bonus section, bonus alert. Ready? When you are interested in things, okay, and this is going to be, okay, here we go. I've got this one really clear. When you are interested in stuff, you care less about other people's interest in you, right? So back to the boy and the girl. What if the boy, he's sad, right? Of course, because the girl's not interested in him anymore. But what if his interests were self-fulfilling and gave him happiness and joy and fulfillment and meaning and purpose because he was interested in things? And so whatever, painting, cars, I don't know, whatever. But he's interested in stuff, so that is fulfilling his own sort of desires and needs and pleasure, right? And then, oh, wait a minute, bonus, the girl might be, again, I'm not saying there's a mathematical equation that this is, if you're interested in cars and paintings, that somebody's interested in you. Not necessarily. I just think it's more like the equation of if you're not interested in anything, then I think the chance is lower that people are interested in you. Wow. I hope that you can see this as clearly as I do, or at least a little bit clearly, because I think this is powerful stuff. And I think this is, frankly, quite amazing and could be, if I do say so myself, it could be very helpful for people who think, like, seriously, how do I make friends? How do I have a relationship? How do I get into a romantic relationship? People don't like me. Why don't people like me? I want more people to like me, right? And then but then what I'm saying is, if you really want to get down to it, you could say that I will like myself more when I am interested, or when I display that interest, when I allow that interest to come out. Like, what am I interested in? What if you're interested in really, like, again, not illegal Pepper's right next to me. I don't even want to say bad things about dogs. What if I'm interested in super weird stuff? Okay, but maybe the super weird stuff, other people are interested in that super weird stuff. Then you have a common interest. That could be even better, right? Like, what if, back to the girl and the guy, what if the guy were interested in, I'm looking around the room, skiing, and the girl were interested in skiing? Ooh, hello. They both have a common interest. And I think this is different, because then they have a common interest, but that interest is outside of them. So, oh, he likes skiing, she likes skiing. Now the topic has become skiing. Whereas I think the fundamental core of what I'm saying, of the interested is interesting part, is I am appreciating you. I am interested in you as a person because you are interested in things, right? So it could be that if it's skiing and you have that in common, fantastic, but that's different. This is more, I don't care what it is you're interested in. Okay, I'm looking around the room again. Collecting little Dutch porcelain houses, okay? Now let's say, back to the girl and the guy, the girl does not care in the slightest about Dutch porcelain houses, right? By the way, that's a shout out to my mother-in-law, who, when you fly business class on KLM, I'm pretty sure they still do this. I wouldn't know. I've never flown business class on KLM. I can't afford it. But when you do that, you get a little house, and it's filled with an alcoholic drink, Jenever. It's called. It's a typical Dutch drink. It's yucky, but you get this little house, and so it's a bit of a status symbol. If you have a bunch of these houses, then I've done that many trips on KLM business class, and she used to come visit us every year. So we've got a lot. Anyway. Wow, that was a diversion. So the guy is interested in Dutch porcelain houses from KLM, and he has a collection of them, and he's obsessed with them, or he loves them, or he's so excited about them. And let's say the girl has no interest, no personal, individual interest in the porcelain houses, but it is interesting for her that he is interested in the Dutch little houses. Does that make sense? Do you follow me there? It doesn't matter what it is. It just matters that you are an interested person. And when you're an interested person, you are interesting. Okay, I think I've beaten this horse to death. Sorry, horse. But I think this is powerful, powerful stuff. And again, one of my messages here this morning is I got this through meditation. And I wish I could say I fasted last night. I would feel even better if I fasted last night. I totally did not fast last night. I picked up my son at the airport and we drove home, and he's been with our friends who are totally vegetarian. So we went to KFC and got chicken legs, like the opposite of healthy and the opposite of vegetarian. Can I just say one thing, a little shout out? And this is part of my appreciate your wins and appreciate where you are moments. But I've now lived in Europe. I think this is our 8th year. And I'm often at the point where I think like, oh, and I'm sure we all have this. Or, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say I'm sure, and I shouldn't say we all. Some of us might have these sometimes. But do you ever have the feeling where like, my life is not going as I thought it might, or my life is not quite going where I wish it were at this point in my life? Well, I have this on a regular basis. And yet, we just need to be reminded to be grateful for what we have. And I was on the phone last night with a really good friend, and I'm at the Brussels airport, and she lives in the States, and she talks about moving to Europe, and I love living in Europe, and I sometimes forget. I take for granted that I live in Europe, and I wanted to live in Europe for so many years, and now I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it. And is every element of my life perfect like I dreamed it will be? Absolutely not. Oh my God, there's so many things that are... 2023 was such a bad year in so many ways. I'm not even going to get into that. But the idea of appreciating what you have and what you have accomplished, and the smallest of the wins. But like this friend of mine said, she's like, oh my God, you're in Brussels airport. Your son is coming home from a ski vacation of a week near Switzerland, and I think it was in France. I don't even know where he was. And he gets to jaunt down to France to go skiing. And as an American, for me, that just sounds so exotic and wonderful, and Europe, and go to other countries, and it's a 2-hour flight. And whereas I used to joke that in 2 hours I can be in Utah. Okay, Utah is beautiful. Maybe that's not a good example, but I would make fun of like Fresno. And a shout out to my cousin who used to live in Fresno and called it Yes. But what are you appreciative of? I just need to say I'm appreciative that I live in Europe, that I wanted this for years, and I'm doing it. And is every aspect of my life perfect? Absolutely not. Some things are really not perfect by any means, or it's bad, in fact. But I try my best to be have gratitude. In fact, shout out to my friend Mark Recklau and his daily gratitude journal. I've been doing it for it's got to be more than a year now, and it helps. I have a tiny little book. I write 3 things. It sometimes takes me 3 seconds. I say boom, 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 1, 2, 3. Like this morning, it could be, I'm thankful I'm in Europe. I'm thankful I got my butt out of bed and did my sit-down meditation and got my new book idea for Interested is Interesting, which I think is an awesome title. And number 3, if I had to do number 3, I had a great talk with my son in the car on the way down. My other son in the car. There you go. 3 things. Okay, I'm going all the way off on tangents. Interested is interesting. If you're still listening to this, I totally appreciate you. Thank you so much. I am going to put this on my podcast and on my YouTube channel. I do a short video pretty much every day on YouTube, and I do a weekly podcast. I also do a monthly newsletter. You can find all this stuff on repossible.com. Wow, I'm really turning this into a sales pitch, but I did not mean to do that. It was really just a recording for myself in the beginning. If you're still listening, I totally appreciate you. Thank you so much. I hope this has been beneficial. And all right, here we go. You ready? I'm going to Wow, this is terrible. Go to iii.repossible.com, and I'm going to talk about interested is interesting. All right, there we go. There you have it. You heard it here first on a Sunday morning. No video, thank you very much. Got the vacuum on. Pepper's even sleeping. And have a great day. Interested is interesting.